Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into practical English conversation skills today.
Sounds fun.
It is. And we always like to take a unique approach.
Yeah, what are we doing today?
Well, you know that video script you sent over about spoken English?
Uh-huh.
That's our jumping off point.
Cool.
It's all about getting comfortable, really confident out there in the real world.
Real life situations.
Right. So we'll be looking at some really cool techniques. Think of this deep dive as your toolkit.
I like that. A toolkit.
Yeah. Everything from, those tricky restaurant orders.
I hate those.
Oh, I know. To like expressing your opinions, really well.
With finesse.
Exactly. And even like handling those awkward moments when you just don't understand.
Oh, yeah. Those are the worst.
They can be.
But this script really zeroes in on that whole psychology of conversation.
The psychology.
Like, it's not just about memorizing phrases.
Right.
It's about understanding how feeling prepared can actually boost your confidence
It's true.
in those spontaneous moments.
Yeah, like you're not caught off guard.
Exactly.
It's almost like you've already rehearsed it in your head.
Like a dress rehearsal.
Yes. So you don't freeze up when the real deal happens.
Love that.
Me too. Speaking of rehearsals, let's talk about role playing.
Okay.
The script talks a lot about practicing everyday scenarios.
Uh-huh.
I know you've mentioned feeling a bit unsure about, like, ordering food at restaurants.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So picture this. You're at a busy cafe. What could you practice beforehand to feel more at ease?
Okay, so like specific phrases I could use.
Yeah. Or even just like the whole interaction.
It's all about activating those mirror neurons, you know?
Mirror neurons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like by practicing something like ordering a coffee, you're basically simulating that experience.
Oh, I see.
Reducing anxiety and building those conversational muscles.
Conversational muscles. I love it.
Yeah. You got to work them out.
We do. So it's like giving your brain a sneak peek
Exactly.
of what to expect, kind of like a movie trailer.
Perfect analogy.
Thanks.
Uh-huh.
You mentioned mirror neurons. What's the science behind that?
Well, mirror neurons, they fire both when we do something and when we watch someone else do it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when you role play ordering that coffee, your brain is basically acting like you're really there.
That's wild. So our brains don't know the difference.
Nope. It's tricking your brain into thinking you've already done it.
That's amazing. I can see how that could be a game changer. But even with all this practice, we're bound to encounter some unexpected moments,
For sure.
especially in casual conversations. That's where small talk comes in, right?
Small talk is so important. It's like the gateway to deeper conversations.
I've always struggled with small talk.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
It can be tricky, but this script emphasizes keeping it light and positive. You know?
Yeah.
Comment on your surroundings.
Okay.
Ask open-ended questions, things like that.
So like instead of just standing there awkwardly,
Exactly.
you can use those observations to spark a connection.
Precisely. Like
Yeah.
you mentioned the cafe's vibe. Ask, have you tried this cafe before?
Right.
And boom, you've got a conversation going.
A two-way street. And the script even talks about body language.
Oh yeah, it's not just about the words.
It's about like creating a welcoming space
Totally.
with a smile and open posture.
It's all about congruence, you know?
Congruent.
Like if your words say one thing, but your body is screaming discomfort,
People pick up on that.
they do. It's mixed
Yeah.
signals.
Right.
But when you combine those positive words, a genuine smile, open posture, you're really communicating.
You're approachable and engaged.
Exactly.
So it's like putting together the complete package. Now imagine you're in a conversation and you want to show your viewpoint.
Okay, yeah.
The script highlights some phrases for expressing opinions effectively, like I think or in my opinion.
Those are good starting points.
They are. But it's not just about stating your opinion boldly, is it?
Not at all. It's about finding that balance between clarity and politeness.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know, like phrases like, I'm not sure, but, or from my perspective.
They soften the delivery,
Yeah.
acknowledging that your opinion is just that it's your perspective
Yeah.
and inviting others to share without feeling judged.
Exactly. It's like leaving the door open for a friendly exchange of ideas,
Exactly.
not a debate.
Right. And, different cultures have different norms around expressing opinions.
Oh, that's so true.
What might be considered assertive in one culture?
Could be aggressive in another.
Totally.
Yeah.
So how can someone navigate those cultural nuances?
It's all about being mindful, you know,
Mindful.
of the context and the cultural background of who you're speaking with,
Go.
observing how others express their opinions
Oh, that's smart.
can give you clues. And when in doubt, err on the side of caution.
Softer language open to different viewpoints.
Exactly.
So it's like becoming a cultural detective.
Love that.
I do too.
Yeah.
This is all great stuff. But let's face it, sometimes those misunderstandings pop up.
Oh, they happen all the time.
It's inevitable when you're learning a
Yeah.
new language, right?
Absolutely, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I think the script's approach is brilliant.
Oh, how so?
It encourages you to embrace those moments as learning opportunities.
Not setbacks.
Right, like giving yourself permission to not be perfect.
I like that. But what about those moments when you just completely blank?
Oh, yeah. You just don't understand what someone's saying.
Totally.
The script highlights some phrases for seeking clarification.
Okay.
Like, could you repeat that, please? Or,
Oh,
I'm sorry, I don't quite catch that.
those are good ones.
They buy you time
To process.
and show that you're actively listening.
So much better than just nodding and pretending.
Oh, yeah. Way better.
And remember, misunderstandings are a two-way street.
That's true.
If you're the one who's been misunderstood,
Yeah.
the script suggests slowing down,
Uh-huh.
rephrasing, or even using gestures.
To clarify your point,
Right. It's a dance between speaking and listening,
it really is.
making sure you're both on the same page.
Yeah.
Patience is key, right?
Absolutely. Patience and seeing those moments not as failures.
But as stepping stones.
Exactly. On your language journey.
Love it. Okay, so we've covered role-playing small talk, expressing opinions, even navigating those misunderstandings. What else?
Well, it also talks about being prepared for those everyday questions.
Oh, like what?
You know, the ones that often stump language learners?
Give me an example.
How was your weekend? Or what do you do?
Oh, yeah, those seem simple, but
But they can throw you off guard.
if you're not ready,
Exactly.
those can be real brain freezers.
They can. But having a few go-to responses ready can really help.
It makes you feel more confident, keeps the conversation flowing.
Exactly. And the script encourages you to think about other questions you encounter
In daily life.
and come up with your own personalized answers
So it's about taking those generic responses.
and making them your own.
I like that.
Yeah, personalize them.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this first part.
We have, but there's so much more to explore.
There is. So stay tuned for the next part of our deep dive.
Can't wait. You know, it's remarkable how this approach to learning English doesn't just throw phrases at you.
It really digs into the why.
Yeah, like why these techniques actually work.
Right, like even exploring things like mirror neurons.
Exactly. Our brains are so adaptable.
They are.
With the right practice, we can rewire our neural pathways.
It's like training our brains for success. I love that.
It is empowering.
It is.
And I think that's a key takeaway from all of this.
What's that?
It's about empowering you to become a more confident speaker.
More fluent.
Exactly.
Speaking of confidence, the script talks a lot about building that confidence through practice.
Yeah, preparation.
But what about those moments when you freeze up?
Oh, yeah, you feel self-conscious.
Even if you have practiced.
It's totally normal.
Really?
You're not alone. It's important to acknowledge those anxieties and not beat yourself up.
That's good advice.
You know, even native speakers get tongue-tied sometimes.
That makes me feel so much better. But knowing it's normal doesn't make it go away.
Yeah.
Any tips for dealing with those in-the-moment jitters?
One thing that really helps is focusing on your breath.
Okay.
Taking a few deep breaths can calm your nerves.
Yeah, just center yourself.
Bring you back to the present moment. And also, be kind to yourself.
Oh, that's important.
It takes time. You know, language learning takes effort.
It does.
And it's okay to make mistakes.
It's all part of the process. It's like giving yourself a pep talk.
Exactly.
Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, you focus on what you've accomplished.
How far you've come.
Yes. Celebrate those small victories.
Every successful conversation, every new phrase, it's a step forward.
So true. Now, we've talked a lot about practicing with other people.
Like role-playing.
Yeah, with a language partner.
Yeah.
But what if someone doesn't have access to that?
To a partner or a group.
Right. Can they still make progress on their own?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are so many resources available for independent learning.
Like
apps, online videos, podcasts.
Oh, yeah, there's a ton of stuff out there.
A wealth of material.
It's like having a virtual language buddy.
Yeah.
Any favorites you recommend?
You know, I always recommend the Voice of America website.
I've heard of that.
They have excellent materials for English learners.
Like what kind of stuff?
News articles,
Mhm.
videos, podcasts,
Oh, wow.
all designed to improve your listening and speaking skills.
I'll have to check that out.
You should.
And I'm a big fan of language learning apps myself.
Oh, me too.
They're great for squeezing in some practice, when you have a few minutes.
On the go.
Exactly.
And they often have games and activities to keep you
I
motivated.
do. It's fun.
It is, and you can personalize them to your needs.
To your goals.
Focus on the areas where you need the most help.
And you can track your progress.
It's like having a personalized tutor in your pocket.
I love that. But let's be real. Sometimes, even with all the resources and practice, we hit those plateaus.
Oh, yeah. It feels like you're not making any progress.
It's so frustrating. Any advice for getting through those times?
It's a natural part of the learning process. It's like hitting a wall.
You get stuck.
It can be demotivating, but the key is to not give up.
I like that. Don't give up.
Yeah, sometimes all you need is a change of scenery or a fresh approach.
Okay, how do you do that?
Try a different learning method, explore a new topic.
Or even just take a break,
Yeah, recharge your batteries.
like hitting the refresh button.
Exactly.
And sometimes just reminding yourself why you started learning English in the first place.
That can help.
Reignite that passion.
Connect with that initial spark.
Speaking of sparking conversations, this script delves into the art of small talk.
We touched on it earlier.
We did, but I'd love to explore it more. Why is small talk so important?
Especially for English learners.
Yeah.
Small talk might seem trivial, but it's really the foundation for building relationships.
Oh, wow. I never thought of it that way.
It's those little chats,
About the weather?
weekend plans.
Yeah.
That can break the ice and lead to deeper conversations.
It's like the appetizer before the main course.
I love that analogy.
You too?
And for English learners, it's valuable practice.
Oh, how so?
It's low pressure. You can try out new phrases
Get comfortable with the flow of conversation.
and build confidence.
It's like a training ground.
Exactly.
The script suggests keeping it light and positive.
Yeah.
But what if you encounter someone who's more reserved?
Less talkative.
Right.
It's all about reading those social cues,
Okay.
adapting your approach. If someone seems less chatty, you might try asking open-ended questions.
To draw them out.
And remember, sometimes just being a good listener is enough.
Yeah. You don't always have to be talking.
Exactly.
So finding that balance, between being engaging and being respectful.
Of their style.
Now, the script also talks about expressing opinions.
Mm-hmm.
We touched on this earlier, but I'd love to go a bit deeper.
Into the nuances.
Yeah, how to do it effectively.
Expressing opinions in a new language can be tricky.
Why is that?
Well, you have to navigate cultural differences.
Well, right. What might be considered assertive in one culture?
Could be aggressive in another.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So how can someone find that sweet spot?
Between being clear and concise, but also culturally sensitive.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's about being mindful of your audience and the context.
Okay.
Pay attention to how others express their opinions.
Oh, like observe and learn.
And try to mirror their tone and style.
So it's about fitting in.
In a way, yeah. And when in doubt, err on the side of caution.
Softer language, acknowledging different perspectives.
Exactly.
So it's like becoming a chameleon.
Adapting your style to blend in.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
But what about those times when you feel strongly about something?
Yeah. And you want to be more forceful.
To express your opinion.
It's fine to be passionate as long as you're respectful.
Okay.
The key is to focus on the issue, not the person.
So not attacking them.
Right. Using phrases like, I understand your point, but...
Or, while I respect your opinion, I disagree. Because
Those can help frame your argument in a more constructive way.
it's like verbal judo.
I love that.
Using their momentum to guide the conversation.
Yes. In a more productive direction.
This is all great stuff, but
Yeah.
let's face it, sometimes those misunderstandings pop up,
They're inevitable.
especially when you're learning a new language.
But it's all about how we handle them.
Right. And the script emphasizes embracing those moments.
As learning opportunities, not setbacks.
Like giving yourself permission to not be perfect.
Exactly.
But what about those moments when you just completely blank?
You don't understand a word.
Yeah. What do you do?
Don't panic. It happens to everyone. The script highlights some phrases for seeking clarification.
Oh, like what?
Could you repeat that, please? Or I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Those are good ones.
They give you time to process.
Yeah. And they show that you're listening.
Actively listening.
So much better than just nodding and pretending.
Way better. And remember, misunderstandings are a two-way street.
That's true if you're the one who's been misunderstood.
You can slow down your speech, rephrase, use gestures.
To clarify your point.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a dance,
Between speaking and listening.
making sure you're both on the same page. Patience is key.
Absolutely. And seeing those moments as stepping stones, not failures. Okay, so we've covered role-playing small talk, expressing opinions, even navigating those misunderstandings. What else?
Well, it also talks about being prepared for those everyday questions.
Like what kind of questions?
You know, the ones that often stump language learners?
Give me an example.
How was your weekend? Or what do you do?
Oh, yeah, those seem simple.
But they can throw you off guard.
Totally. If you're not ready,
Exactly.
they can be real brain freezers.
But having a few go-to responses ready can help.
It makes you feel more confident, keeps the conversation flowing.
And the script encourages you to think about other questions
That you encounter.
in daily life and come up with your own answers.
Personalized answers.
Exactly.
So it's about taking those generic responses and making them your own.
Personalize them.
I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of all this wisdom.
We've covered a lot, but there's still more to explore.
There is. Ready to uncover even more gems in the next part of our deep dive.
Absolutely. You know, one thing that I see a lot is English learners being afraid to make mistakes.
Oh, yeah, that fear of making mistakes.
It can really hold you back.
It's like you have this internal critic judging every word.
Totally. And this script really encourages you to embrace those mistakes.
As learning opportunities.
Right. Like every time you stumble or make a grammar error,
It's actually helping you learn.
you're strengthening those pathways in your brain.
Like a mental workout. The
Yeah.
more you challenge yourself, the stronger you get.
Exactly. And remember, even native speakers make mistakes.
Sick too.
It's part of being human.
That's reassuring. But even knowing that, it can be hard to shake those feelings,
That self-consciousness.
especially in front of others.
I get it. One strategy that can help is shifting your focus
From what to what?
from perfection to progress.
Okay.
Instead of dwelling on mistakes, celebrate the small victories.
I like that.
Each time you use a new phrase correctly or understand a complex sentence.
It's like giving yourself a pat on the back.
Exactly. And remember, language learning is a journey.
Not a destination.
There will be ups and downs, twists and turns.
The important thing is to enjoy the ride.
Exactly. Don't get too caught up in the finish line.
Speaking of journeys, one thing I love about this script is that it doesn't just focus on the technical stuff.
Like grammar and vocabulary.
Right. It also talks about those soft skills.
Oh, those are so important.
They are crucial for communication.
It's like giving you a toolkit for connecting with people
Exactly. Not just speaking English, but really connecting.
on a deeper level.
It talks about active listening, nonverbal communication, cultural sensitivity.
Those can make a world of difference.
They really can,
They're often overlooked, but they're so crucial
especially these days.
in our interconnected world.
And what I find fascinating is how it weaves those soft skills into the practical techniques.
It's all connected.
For example, it talks about how active listening can actually boost your confidence in speaking.
It makes sense when you think about it.
It does. Why is that?
When you're truly listening, you're not just absorbing information.
Right.
You're actively engaging.
With their thoughts and ideas.
And that helps you process the language.
It makes it easier to respond.
It's like a mental ping pong match.
Back and forth.
The more you listen and engage, the better you become at responding.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And the script also talks about nonverbal communication.
Oh, yeah. It's not just what you say.
It's your tone of voice,
Mm.
facial expressions, body language.
It's like adding those extra layers of meaning.
Exactly. And those nonverbal cues can be different across cultures.
So it's important to be aware of that.
Adjust your approach.
Be mindful,
It's like becoming a cultural chameleon.
adapting to blend in.
I like that. And cultural sensitivity is not just about avoiding mistakes.
It's about showing respect
For other culture.
for their values and customs.
Building bridges of understanding.
Exactly. Creating a more harmonious world.
Beautifully said. As we wrap up our deep dive into this amazing resource, what's one key takeaway you hope listeners will remember?
That's a good question. I hope they remember that spoken English is not about perfection.
It's about connection.
Using the language to build relationships, share ideas, and experience the world.
I love that. And I think this script does a great job of capturing that spirit.
It's not just a boring textbook.
Right. It encourages us to embrace the joy of communication.
Have fun, make mistakes. Don't be afraid to let your personality shine.
That's the best advice for language learners. So to all our listeners out there, keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep those conversations flowing.
Until next time, happy speaking.